Hello, all you Gunters out there. Greetings to the oasis that is YouTube. I am still Colin of Inside Voices.
And I am Adam Rubin.
Indeed he is. And today we are going to discuss what we've both just seen, Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One.
Like many of you, I only came here to escape. But I found something much bigger than just myself. Are you willing to fight? Help us save the oasis.
I'm ready, Colin. I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, you go first. First thoughts of Ready Player One. Go.
My first thoughts are that I went into this movie in a position that I am a constant advocate that you should always try to avoid. I read the book before I saw the movie. I know. I didn't read the book because there was a movie coming out. I read the book when the book first came out. I didn't know they were going to make a movie. How was I supposed to know? But it's definitely a position I never want to be in because, of course, it skews everything about your enjoyment of the movie. So actually, I think you should go first because you went in fresh, right? You had not read the movie or read the book.
I have not read the book. I know a lot about the story, from people who have read the book, but I have not myself read it. So I'm more curious about your first impressions of the movie, and then I'll weigh in. Okay. Well, first impression is that this movie is a definition of like a movie that is spectacle. This is a movie that is pure, that is made for purely entertainment. This is an entertainment-made movie. And that is really all it is trying to be, for the most part.
I couldn't agree more. That's its
goal. If that is your goal, going to see this movie, you will be entertained. Okay, this is like Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Yes, you will be entertained if that is all you're looking for, which this movie delivers in spades. If you're looking for something a little more, like more critical thinking or more of a big, deep, hidden message that the movie's trying to give you, you'll probably be a little bit kind of like.
A story. We call those things a story.
Well, not such a story, but like an actual more meaning to it besides pop culture mashup. If all you're expecting is pop culture mashup, you are going to be happy. If you wanted something a little bit more than pop culture mashup,
like a story,
slightly disappointed. But not disappointed, thinking it was a waste of time. So I think my first impression was it is pure fun, pure entertainment, and go in knowing you're going to get just that and you won't be disappointed. That was my first thought.
I strongly agree. I have here written in my notes the very phrase, entertainment, no more, no less. That is exactly what this was. 6.5. You want to see what the previews showed you? You want to see a longer version of that? Go do it. I thought it did a very nice job of keeping up the momentum. I wasn't bored. I wasn't getting antsy in my seat. I was engaged the whole time, and I watched it.
Adam, didn't you go to the bathroom though, Adam?
Well, it was a long movie, and I had just eaten dinner, so I will admit I did at one point use the restroom. Although I read the book.
Cardinal sin for all you moviegoers. Don't ever do that.
I tried to hold it, Colin. I did go to the bathroom. Nonetheless, and as a testament to how entertaining the movie was, I very quickly wanted to get back in it because I didn't want to miss anything. That being said, as it turns out, if you miss anything, it really doesn't matter at all. So, it keeps you in your seat. It's fun. You want to just go again, sort of, in very much the same way as last week's movie. You want to go turn your brain off and just look at stuff for a little bit. This movie will definitely get it done and will not disappoint. This would be a great treadmill movie. This would be a great movie to watch on your iPad 6 months from now while you're just on the treadmill. Like just something fun. I think that's what this movie really is. Okay.
I like that. Treadmill movies. That's good.
Treadmill movie. This is a treadmill movie.
Treadmill movie.
But it's the best. But let me just be clear. It is the best kind of treadmill movie because it wasn't going for that. It's a movie that's entertaining enough to watch on the treadmill. Unlike movies that are clearly made specifically for people on the treadmill, like Rampage, which, of course, we saw the another trailer for at the beginning of this movie. And without getting too sidetracked on that, That's a movie that looks like it was made for people on the treadmill, and that I do not really approve of. That's gone too far.
Well, so, I want to mention just quickly, because you referenced Pacific Rim as another movie that you turn your brain off. I think this movie, though, is... Right, but this movie still has a little bit more, a better... not just content, but also just a little bit more style to it than Pacific Rim 2. Like, it's a little bit more memorable, Pacific Rim 2. So it's like a better version of a turn your brain off movie, to me.
It's the Steven Spielberg treadmill movie.
Yes.
I can't put it any more succinctly than that. The Steven Spielberg treadmill movie.
I don't know why I find that so funny, but that's really fun.
Because it's perfect. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
Right.
So listen, if that's
6.5 out of 10, is that what you said?
6.5. That's yeah.
Okay.
So if that sounds like
a 7, just a 7 right on the nose. Can't give it more than that, but 7 right on the dot.
So we're pretty close there, and I would say if that sounds like your cup of tea, go see it.
And especially if you liked it, this is also a movie that demands more than one viewing because, oh my God, there are so many references and Easter eggs and little alludes and nods to that you will not catch the first time. I know I didn't catch probably a lot of it. So
unless
to see it again. Unless
you've read the book. Don't read the book if you haven't read the book already.
All right.
But if you have read the book, you'll get the references. Though that being said, it probably deserves a second viewing just because it's coming at you. Don't sit too close to the screen for this one. You need a little distance to absorb what's happening.
Find a big screen still. Find a big screen, but don't sit too close. I'm with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if that sounds like your thing, go watch the movie and then come on back because we're about to get into spoiler town. Let's do it, Colin. I'll tell you what. The thing that I was the most concerned about going into this movie, this isn't really a spoiler, interestingly enough, but I already called it, so we're doing spoiler town. That's it. I called it. The thing that really concerned me going into this movie was that this was going to be the uncanny valley from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. Having read the book, knowing that the whole thing pretty much takes place inside the Oasis, inside a virtual reality video game, I was like, how is this not just going to be 2 hours of uncanny valley? How are they going to escape it? And I would say they didn't quite escape it. I liked the effort that was made, making the eyes a little bit too big and a couple little nods to try to get out of it. But yeah, a lot of it looked real weird. On the other hand, I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't find it as distracting as I was worried I was going to. The fact that it is all make-believe excused most of it, actually. Yeah, it did. It excused most of it for me, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that.
Okay.
What did you think?
I didn't have a problem with any uncanny valley moments. Because maybe it was because all their avatars are not they're here's an example, with Tintin, right? Spielberg did Tintin as well. Tintin, I thought, had a little bit of uncanny valley because
it certainly did.
These people do look like people. In Tintin, they're supposed to be human, so they're more human-looking. But these are avatars, so they're heightened, photogenic versions of not just humans, but you can have stylistic, you can have a fish face if you want, or something like that. So they're not supposed to look human. So I didn't think it suffered from having the uncanny valley effect because they weren't supposed to look like humans, and like you said, it was like a CGI world. So I was more, I didn't find myself just thinking oh, that face should look better because it wasn't supposed to be a human face anyway. So I was okay with that. I don't have a problem with that at all.
And it's not about whether they're supposed to look better. It's just about if you get the wrong place in the uncanny valley, it's off-putting. It's not that they're oh, they could have done better. It's that it's physically a little bit repulsive. You're you don't go with it. I definitely had that with a movie that both of us have strong opinions about, Tron 2. Tron Legacy, where they're trying to bring him back at the beginning as a young guy, and you're ugh, no.
Yeah. Again, they're trying to make, it's supposed to be a person. They're trying to make a person look photorealistic, and that's just
right.
We haven't gotten there yet. So, and these characters are not photorealistic humans, so it should be more okay with it, though.
And I thought they just pulled it off. It was distracting a couple times, especially when, since we're in spoiler town, especially at the end when you have Wade's avatar with the actual live action version of the creator of the Oasis, then it was really in your face like, oh yeah, that's a little bit off. But most of the time, it was not distracting.
See, but that scene and the Shining scene, and if you when you see it, you know it. Like, okay, first of all, they didn't shoot that is the same set, right? That was not a CGI recreation, right? That was the set. Was that not the same hotel? It looked like the right hotel.
I don't know if it was the same set or just a recreation of the set, but it was a live action set. It was a live set
because
absolutely
that looked awesome. Absolutely. Having CGI Avatar characters interact with the Shining lobby and all the halls. I was having a blast with that. That was just awesome. And then in the maze. Oh, so like that kind of stuff, or like when the Iron Giant pulled like a Terminator 2 reference with the thumbs up in the lava. Love that. Because you're doing a nice little mashup and a nod to, pre-existing movies. But I have to say, because like I said, the movie is not necessarily trying to give you a message, but it does have a message in terms of like, stop trying to look for escapism. We only have one reality, so live your life, because it's the only one you have. That's real. That's what. But the movie didn't do as good a job like hammering that idea in terms of like why reality is important, and I think it has to do
because Colin, 2 days a week you have to make out with your girlfriend. Everybody knows that.
Well, now you do. You couldn't. There were no days of the week available.
Now that you're a multi-billionaire and you've got a hot girlfriend, you have to take 2 days a week away from video games to make out with her. Otherwise, she'll leave you. That's a very good lesson for the movie to portray.
Well, the thing is, because if the movie's purpose was to show, like, as much as we want to escape and everything and find meaning in a fake make-believe world that is not the one we actually live in, basically the movie should have done a better job of showing, not telling us all the hardships that was this dystopian future. They kept referencing how, there was climate change and then like, the stock market suffers, stuff like that. But they never actually showed us, besides like the look of Columbus, like how dire it was. We didn't see any of like Wade's upbringing and like how, hard it was for him. We don't know anything about Samantha's father. They keep telling us these things that are bad that happen to these characters, but we didn't get to see it. And if we had seen it, we would probably empathize with it more. But instead, we're being told information, and that doesn't really make me like care as much unless I'm being seen it and I have an emotional response to that moment. It seemed like Spielberg was just more. They didn't have time or whatever. He just said, "Okay, this is bad, and this is why," and then now we're moving on. So the ending didn't land as well as it could have if we got to see more of the dystopia, I guess.
Well, I think the ending is very representative of the whole movie in that it doesn't really make any sense at all, but it's very Spielbergy. The whole movie doesn't make much. None of it really makes any sense. It's just sort of cute and it's visually fun and it goes by and that's it.
Well, I mean, the ending almost could have landed when Halliday, like you said, when like the real Halliday is talking to Wade, and he's basically saying
the post-mortem, the live action Halliday. Let's put it that way.
That's another thing they did not answer, and I'm assuming maybe they set up a Ready Player 2. But he said like, it's not him being alive, but it's not an avatar. So what the hell is that talking to him in the game? Is that like his consciousness? Do we know? You read the book, Adam. Yeah. Say you read the book. Can you tell me anything about this?
I mean, there's definitely a definitive answer in the book. So now I guess we're going to a sub-spoiler section of book spoilers.
Well, you never compared, like, because you did see the book. So how did that influence your opinion of the movie?
Well, I mean, so of course I knew the premise. The premise is very simple, and I thought this movie did a good job of being like, it's a scavenger hunt. Like, that's great. Yeah. It's a scavenger hunt for $500 billion. We all get it.
It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, we know. Okay.
Except a scavenger hunt. But and Willy Wonka's dead, which would have been a very interesting Willy Wonka indeed.
All right.
He's been dead the whole time. So, I agree with everything you're saying. And of course, I can fill in the gaps because I know all the stuff that was missing. But yeah, I mean, somewhere this felt Zack Snydery. Like somewhere there's a 4.5-hour version of this movie that does an appropriate job handling the subject material. But it was already a long movie, and you still had to leave most things out because they didn't cut any characters, and that was crazy to me. Like, I loved the fact that they like in the book, there's more challenges. There are more key stuff. There's a lot more that happens. And they cut a lot of it down, which they had to because it was too long. I thought that was a very smart move. Like, they go to a whole, there's a whole section where one of the keys is actually in Blade Runner, in the Blade Runner universe, which would have been cool. And I'm sure it was a rights issue. And it also would have taken so long. It would have taken so long, Colin. So it was cut for time, and I totally approve of that. But, but you also had to cut. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I told you there were book spoilers.
Don't the book anymore. I retract my appeal. I take it back. Dang it.
Oh, Colin, there's so much more 80s crap in the book. But which was why it was appropriate that Spielberg should do this, because, of course, he's responsible for a large chunk of that 80s crap. Yep. So he was a great choice. But so they cut a lot of the scavenging for time, which was great. But then they didn't cut any of this ancillary cast of characters for time. And they needed to, for exactly the reason you said, because we don't have time to get into them at all. We don't really care about them because we don't know who the heck they are in this movie. We're not given any time to get to know them.
Right. I mean, of all the characters, I mean, we do care. I think the most of is Wade and Sam.
Of course, and that's as it should be. But we should.
But there could have been a lot more time to develop, like, H, because she was a very interesting character. The two brothers, their relationship, we could have gone into a little bit of detail. Also, Halliday himself with his old partner. We got a couple of flashback scenes, but they could have gone really deep into like what was this divide and how did it span over time.
Of course.
We didn't get much of that. Of course.
Listen, why is the older brother not joining in the final battle until that last second he finally decides to put on the visor? He's just staring off into space. I know the answer because it was in the book, but they don't ever tell you in the movie.
But they do give an answer in the book. There is an answer in the book. Why?
There is an answer. Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the book that makes him sad, and so he's being sad.
Make a dramatic entrance or something. You should wait for the opportune moment.
There were a lot of things like that where I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if maybe it got cut for time. There was a scene where they went into it. It's not clear. I think there'll be a 4.5-hour director's cut, and I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch it. I think it'll be a lot better. But overall, having read the book, I somewhat knew what to expect. I was worried about the Uncanny Valley. Uncanny Valley was okay. I thought the trims were good. I thought there should have been more trims. I thought that there should have been more trims so that we could get more into the spirit of this thing. Because as it is, as a movie, seeing a lot of it, it didn't make any sense. And it was a little bit easier to gloss over that in the book than when you actually literally see it. You're like, why isn't anybody doing anything about it? When she's hiding in the stacks, with all these other people, but it's literally just her, and you're seeing her just like leave his office while they walk in. You're like, that doesn't make any sense at all, but it's very Spielbergy. It's very like, oh yeah, what if kids ran the world? Yeah, adults are stupid. So that was fine. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's cute.
Which is oddly relevant given what's happening in reality right now with the kids' march that just happened. So that's an interesting timing with that message.
Yes, good point.
Thank you. Just a quick few bullet points. I just wanted to point out. I thought the CGI in both the opening shot of the Oasis, where they were going through all the worlds like in one tracking shot, beautiful. I love that. Yeah. And I loved the CGI in the first car chase on the race. Again, I thought it looked great. I mean, when the T-Rex showed up and King Kong, I mean, it all looked great. I think Olivia Cooke, who plays Artemis, is a star in the making. I think this is going to help her career immensely. She really won that movie for me.
And counterpoint to your opening looks so great. Artemis's whole thing is, oh no, you wouldn't like the real me because I don't look anything like this. Except, yes, she does. She looks almost exactly like that. She's a very cute redhead who's shocked about her appearance because she's got a slight pigment thing. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Listen, we all aren't really self-confident. So you know what? I was willing to be fine with that. But also, I have to say quickly, the score by Alan Silvestri, I thought it should have been a little better, but maybe that's just me.
All right.
So
fair enough.
I think that's it. So I think we both say go see it. But let us know what you think in the comments below if you like Ready Player One or if you're ready for Ready Player 2. But for that, I am Colin Binnick.
And I'm Adam Rubin.
And we'll see you next time.